Hey, yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. I appreciate your support as always. On this episode, we've got Madogthefirst in his T49 American Tier 9 light tank. He's in a 357 on Mountain Pass, loaded into the southeast corner. And we are going to see a carry by Mad Dog. And I'm not talking about the kind of carry where you do 9,000 or 10,000 damage, or I'm not telling you his T49 is going to have 10 kills. What I'm going to tell you, though, is that Mad Dog is going to be a huge part of the win. And at the end, because he's alive and because he understands positioning in this game and reacting to the flow, it's going to be a carry by our hero, Mad Dog, the first of his name. And he's running the 90mm and the T49, which I appreciate because that's what I run on my T49. I cannot stand the derp. It can be funny, but I think the T49, the 90mm, sorry, is the more flexible gun. He goes ahead and rams his own scout right there. Looking towards the enemy, didn't quite see what was going on there. So he's going to come up here, and right away you take a look at his team's deployment and watch it as it develops because it just isn't very good. The IS-7 hasn't even moved yet, the 100.1. We got two mediums that went down to the ice road for some unknown reason. Conway, the Scorp, all camping in the back. The pilot's the only guy looking down the bridge, and so really nothing is looking very good. They're not even really heavily invested in the southwest where Mad Dog is, so he's going to dive down into the bottom, and this is going to be problematic. I like moving up to where the 100 LT was to get early spots and some early shots and kind of hurt them if they're camping in that middle. The problem with this spot becomes that you can get trapped in here. So let's see how Mad Dog actually works with that within the context of how his team has horrendously poorly deployed. You can see the 100.1 is fighting a couple, probably 3 up to 4 tanks over there. Mad Dog's team is down 2-1, and he's picking at this poor, what is this, 59 Patton guy right here, is just really getting abused by Mad Dog with that giant tumor that's sticking up. So Mad Dog's just doing his best. He's got these guys right here. You can bail out of here, but right now if he headed over to where the 100 LT is, he'll get trapped in that little hole. The other problem is if you turn tail and run and that Patton notices it, he'll just push up and start shooting you in the back, and he's got shots. At least 1, maybe 2 before you really get around the corner right there. You can see that the southwest corner is not going great for his team either. Not much invested there. There's a Conway kind of hanging out on the top, but he's reacted, flexed back because of the situation developing there on the west side of the map. You'll notice that the Conway and the, I believe it's another Patton, what is it? Yes, the M46 Patton are platoon. I think they're actually pretty decent players. So just watch how this develops. Mad Dog continues to work on this guy who's doing an okay job up until that point of keeping him at bay. Mad Dog pushes up here, sees an opportunity to take down this Patton, knows he's got to get rid of this guy because he just doesn't want to leave him on his backside. And he's thinking, I think, about maybe pushing around the middle, but ooh, crud, there's the 54 Mod 1. He's hanging out right there. So he's going to bail out of there. He's been there for a long time. If any of the enemy team is going to react to him, they're probably starting to approach that area. And he notices, and this is the reaction part, that his team has a little bit of a push moving through the middle. Now, that's not a fantastic place for a push, and they do have a crossfire between the T54, WZ, and the RHM and Charioteer, but that's where he has a possibility of making a difference. So he flows over to that, and now he's starting to work in this middle with what he's got. There's that Patton. The Conway's doing his level best to hold the cap over there, and you can see that he comes up here, snaps his shot off, gets one in on him. T54 E1, if they can take him down, other than the AMX, who is somewhere further up towards the Conway, they will have secured at least that little flank in this particular tactical area right here. Shoots but bounces. Scorpion G's getting hammered. Zooms it in, and he's able to get rid of that guy. And now we've got an RHM. You'll notice that he goes to HE right here, probably thinking he's going to thump the RHM. The HE shell on this 90mm is actually pretty fantastic. First guy he finds, though, is a Charioteer, just accepts the shot and is able to drop 278 on that guy. RHM fires, there he goes, pushes around, puts in, what, 289 on that shot, and drops another for the kill of 286, and he's cleared out that little flank. And that's gone a long way towards evening up this game. You'll see that he's not at 3,000 damage or 4,000, but he's still alive. He's still shooting, and he's going to the places he needs to be. He's going to spend a pretty good amount of the rest of this game working with that M46, even though they are not really talking to each other. They're not platooned. They're both pretty decent players, and they are going to basically have the same idea most of the time. Now, Patton, I believe, is still working on the 54 Mod 1 if he can. And you've got Mad Dog now flexing back. He's got a 1390 trolling around. He wants to go back here. The Conway is basically a one-shot to bait everything left in the game. So he's going to flow back up here and work up to the hill where the Conway is, which is going to give him some flexibility. He does need to watch out for the 1390 showing up and clipping him down. Mad Dog will get maybe one shot. He'll definitely get one shot. He might get two, but more than likely, if the 1390 has a full clip, Mad Dog will lose that. Comes up here, and unfortunately for the 1390, he's moving away. Mad Dog finds him by poking over that edge, which is exactly what he was looking for. Comes down here with auto aim and is able to take him down. And that was a nice aggressive move. He knew he needed to get rid of that 1390 if he could. You see that he spins around and heads back out of there. Why did he do that? Because the 110E5 is probably coming around that corner. Last scene over there, last thing he wants to do is walk into him. So just turn around and go someplace else, disappear, and then they'll be left guessing. Continue to move towards the 110E5, and he may just set up there waiting for him to come around that corner. Plus, what else is Mad Dog doing? He's gone back to where the M46 is, because the M46 was messing around with that Mod 1 and Su 101. But what you want to do then is get back to the rest of the guns on your team, especially if they're active, good players like these two. Obviously, the Conway's not been very active, but he's down to one shot, and he's trying to guard the cap right there. But sync up with those guys, and then that brings two guns into the fight, and if you can isolate one guy and start working on him, then you're in good shape. So they both go back. Let's take a look. He's going to see, is anybody coming down this way? Doesn't look like it. He has to be cognizant of the artillery, because artillery can hit that spot. You'll notice the Conway's around the corner, so he can't be. Just get that scout spotting capability up there. Scout spotting capability up there, and now the Patton has turned around, and he's actually going to go back that way. What he wants to do is take a look down that hill and see if that Mod 1, Su 101 are coming up the hill. So he goes that way, finds out they are not, and Mad Dog's going to follow up with the Patton. You can see that very active, looking around, trying to be unpredictable, looking for another angle, not just camping and staring down in one spot. And something interesting happens here, because they find him. Probably Mad Dog's thinking immediately, like, all right, we can work him, and then holy cow, they actually did the same thing. They are together. And now we got Mad Dog attempting to get into the tracks. The Patton's getting hammered, and he realizes, you know what, in order to win this, we cannot go face to face on these guys. We're going to have to go around them. What would have ideally happened here is they take down the Mod 1 first. So if they'd have known he was there, they might have been able to just push into him, take him down quickly, and maybe the Patton gets another shot in on the 110E5. Mad Dog's having a little trouble getting through this guy. He eats another hit from him, gets his ammo rack hit, kills him, and then just runs for it. You see he fixes his ammo rack on the way, and the 110E5 hanging out there. The Conway actually takes down the 101. So the 101 came in alone from the other direction. The Conway wins that fight, and now we're in a 2v2 with the Conway and Mad Dog against artillery and the 110E5. So he goes through the bottom, gets out of there from the 110E5. He's just not going to win that fight. Doesn't have enough DPM before the 110E5 takes him down. And he's trying to be unpredictable. So he comes through here, dodges around a little bit, gets back up to the high ground. This is what I'm talking about earlier, where I said, you know, this is a carry by Mad Dog, but you'll notice that it's not one of these, 10,000 damage carries. He's got 5 kills. And what's going on here carry-wise is he is still alive. Until the Patton went down, the 3 best players in this game were still alive. And now it's just him and the Conway. And these guys are going to understand what each other is doing. The Conway has decided to push across because he cannot win a fight with the 110E5, more than likely. He's a one-shot to him. He might get one shot into the 110E5. Has a high likelihood of actually bouncing the thing, depending on what angle he gets. So he gets out of there, and he's moving up, moving forward with Mad Dog, and they're probably thinking, let's get to the cap, we'll take out the arty, and we'll jump on the cap. And more than likely, unless that 110E5 is already moving back, he can't get there. But now they have more SA. The 110E5 has obviously jumped onto the cap, Mad Dog's the faster tank. He's going to head back. The convoy keeps trucking. And I do talk a lot about this not being a capping game, but here's an example of where they really do want to get over to the cap. Now, Conway's going to get in there, and ideally he finds the artillery and kills him and jumps on the cap. So let's see what happens. Notice that the Conway said wait. Conway wants to get in there, try to find the arty, see if he can kill him. So Mad Dog's just going to take a look here. Maybe a little dangerous there. If the thing had been looking down that road, it might have taken a hit. But there goes the artillery, all right, and Mad Dog's just going to post up right here, kind of taking a look, and stay here. So he's waiting for the convoy, and what he wants to do here, got multiple things going on. So he wants to wait until the convoy gets onto the cap, and then gets enough cap points that when Mad Dog resets, there's no possibility for a tie. So that's going to require 10, 15 seconds at least. The other thing he wants to do is not leave the 110E5 enough time, if he ends up killing Mad Dog, to get to his own cap. So his own cap's going to require 1.5 minutes, so he needs to wait. But he's only got 30 seconds for the red cap to win. So this is going to be a bit tricky. He's covered the, if he gets a reset, he's covered the amount of time for a tie right now. So he's good on a tie. And pretty soon here, and I might have gone in a little bit earlier, he's really playing it towards the end. The other consideration he's got to think about here is his own reload time. If he pops out, say, at 5 seconds, takes a shot and does not reset, he doesn't have time to reload before the guy wins the battle. And he really shaves this one close. Really shaves it close. Myself, I'd have gone out a little bit earlier, but he comes in here and he's got heat. He's looking to get into the track. I did not see where he went, whether he actually hit the track and did not critical it, did not destroy it. Not sure really what happened there. There's a couple other considerations here. He could have gone to heat, but with the front armor of the 110E5, he has a good chance of hitting the front armor with even with HE and not doing any damage. So he went with heat, tried to get into the track, and whether he either missed the track or the track just ate it and didn't get destroyed, that's what ended up happening there. But he came out soon enough that if you look at with 6 seconds left on the enemy tank, his reload is inside that. So he's going to get one more shot before this 110 is able to kill him off right here, even though he was tracked. I think he fixed it. And he puts that in there, gets the track, and look at that. There's the reset. 51 seconds left for the green for his own cap, and the other tank cannot possibly get a tie or win based on capping. You'll see that he's just going to turn around, and the 110E5 realizes that, so he just wants to kill poor Mad Dog. Mad Dog's going to make a run for it right here. There's not enough time for the 110E5 to get back. He shoots, actually gets into him, and keeps on running. He blocked the 110E5's shot, I'm assuming with the gun, or I don't know what. And the guy misses again. He has to be raging. And you can see that there's just clearly not enough time for the tank, the 110E5, with that kind of slow, relatively slow speed to get back and knock down the cap for the convoy. So he really just pulls a rabbit out of his hat right here, snatches victory from the jaws of defeat, however you want to look at it. I would call that a carry, not the traditional I dominated everything carry, but certainly end game carry where his gameplay made all the difference onto whether this game was won or lost. This brings one last interesting discussion. It's often said that about a third of your games you're going to lose no matter what you do. About a third you're going to win no matter what you do, and it's the middle third where you have the highest impact on. And occasionally there are games that exist pretty squarely in the third there's nothing you can do about, where your superior gameplay actually moves it into the sphere of games you do have an impact on, which means if you're good enough, your sphere of games that you have an impact starts to move into a larger number than the 30% or the 1/3. The better you are, the more games you are capable of impacting and having a higher win rate is what I'm saying right there. And this is a game where I would have about halfway through looked at what the situation was position-wise, looked at where the tanks were position-wise and what the losses were on each side, and I would have said at about 99% certainty that Mad Dog's team would have lost. But that is without knowing anything about the skill of the players and obviously not having the 20/20 hindsight of looking at the back end of it and knowing that they ended up winning. So really nice job there, Mad Dog. A lot of higher level, high skilled gameplay things happened right there that I think the beginning and intermediate players can take away. All right, guys, hope you like what you saw. Hope you learned something. This was definitely a game where you could learn something from. And as always, we will see you.